Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with part one of the reference journal. So I've given some thought to how I want to construct this. I've never made a reference journal, but I'm going to make it just like I would a regular journal. So I'm going to do a hidden spine and I'm going to make it nice and thick. It's going to be 4 signatures with 6 pages in each signature because it's going to take a lot of bulk because it's going to be a piece of everything that I'm making. So I figure I want it to be roomy enough for that, but also I thought it would be fun to have a flip out. So when I attach a piece to the page, somehow I'll figure out how I can also do a flip out, maybe with an envelope or something, so that I can put in details about that piece. Maybe put a label on the actual item and then put some instructions in a pocket or something. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I really am feeling like functionally for me, designing it as I would a regular handmade or junk journal is the way to go for me. So that's what we're going to do. I've got some supplies here. Let me talk about that so I can unbury some of this stuff. So this is gaffer's tape, and so this is what I'll use to put my pieces of chipboard together. I'm going to be using chipboard for the covers, the cover and the spine. I've got my PVA glue and my Fabri-Tac. I like to use both when I am putting my fabric on my chipboard. So I've got a silicone brush because it just wipes off easily. I've got a plate to put some of that out on when we get that far. And then this is what I've got here, and some of this is going to make more sense as we get along in part 2. We'll talk about it a little bit in part 1, but we're going to make a spine template out of this piece of white paper, and it's measuring the same width as the journal itself, so 4 inches by 8 3/4. So we'll be using this as a template, but in part 2 I'll show you how I make the template. I always do it the same way. It's always reliable. It works really well for me. So I thought I would share that for any of you that have not done that or have not seen me do it on any of the journals. This is going to be it measures the same size as that piece of white paper because that's going to be the size of the spine, and this will just cover up the top of the spine chipboard because this is going to be a hidden spine, and again that's going to make more sense too as we go along. So I'm just going to set those out of the way. Just for the sake of time, I have already cut my chipboard. So the cover measures, as I mentioned a moment ago, 8 3/4 by 5 3/4 ish. So I've got my front and my back and then my 4-inch spine. Everything measures the exact same size. And then the actual journal pages are a little bit wonky, and it's just because of how my printer printed. So I've mentioned before, when I take an image and I print it on one side and I turn it over to print on the other side, if I don't think about turning the paper in a particular way, I get a white border that is not helpful. And so my pages are a little bit smaller than they normally would have been because I had to fix that. So the actual pages measure 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. So usually they're close. Well, I guess that's about right. That's not too off from a standard size. Let me see if I wrote that down right. Yeah, 5 1/4. I think it's the height that was different. Yeah, so my height is usually 8 1/4 and it's 8 1/8. So that was, again, that's correcting that white border that I had to cut off. So we'll be dealing with the pages in the second video, but I used this beautiful kit from Everyday Clip Art, and they're called Distress Journal Pages. And because I was really struggling, which is why it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to have a whole bunch of different papers in my reference journal, because the ephemera that we're going to put in it is going to bring a lot of color and a lot of variety in it, a more of an eclectic look, because it's going to be a mix of themes and different journal themes that I have done and will be doing in the future. So I thought a really kind of samey paper would be good. So I love the grunge. I love this paper, and I had it in my stash. So we're going to be using this. It's copied on both sides. So there are going to be 24 pages in total. And if I did my math right, oh, and this is where you can see that the papers are still different sizes, but I am not concerned about that. So it's such a small amount of difference that it's not going to affect our binding or anything like that. So 24 pages total, 4 signatures, 6 pages each. Okay, so hopefully you're following along there. So we're going to go ahead and set all that aside because we're not dealing with that today other than our chipboard. We do need that, goodness gracious. So I've got a piece of plastic or a mat here to put down because this gets pretty messy. And I also have a towel on my lap just to help out with the mess. So the first thing that I do is I lay, actually I'm going to move this just so you can see better, is I lay this out on my surface like so. I put lotion on. I can see the lotion on my chipboard. So I want this to be about 1/8 of an inch, about 1/8 of an inch gap. I usually go a little bit, yeah, about 1/8 of an inch, about right there. That's the space I like to have between my pieces, and what that allows is for a kind of floppy opening. So because it's not going to bind at that intersection. So I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut 6 total strips of this because I will lay it down this way. I'll fold over the edges, then I'll flip it over, and I'll do another piece on the other side just for stability. So I'm going to take a moment and do that, and I'll be right back and we'll start putting it together. So I don't measure those pieces out because that's not important, but you do want to make sure that this doesn't move. Now, if it helps you, you could put a piece of masking tape, not masking tape, like clear tape. But I usually, if I'm fast, I can get it on there without it moving. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Did I get it long enough? I did. Okay, so and I like this tape because I can see through it. So I'm just going to quickly make a decision and put it down. Okay, because if you see what happened here, I hesitated, and the thing is if I try to pull this up, it's going to rip my chipboard. So we are going to see if we can we fudge it at all? Oh, we can't. I'm going to have to start over. It doesn't compromise that paper, that chipboard much, but it does a little bit. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to grab my tape here. Should have done that in the first place. Goodness gracious. This is supposed to be a tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to just put that back in place, and I'm going to put a couple pieces of this Scotch tape. I'm just going to kind of go one at the top. Usually I don't have trouble. Oh man, I just ran out of tape. Go figure. I have another roll here. Let me change it out. Goodness gracious. You know, and I'm hoping that I don't lose power because I have the lights and the power has been flashing many times this morning. I am on day 7 of being stuck at home due to this storm. They canceled school again. This is January the 17th, Wednesday. I mean, the plus side is I've gotten a ton of videos done. Like, I'm so far ahead, I could just like relax for a whole week and not do any crafting. I'd be fine. But anyway, so I'm hoping that it won't go out. So if it does, I'll just, my computer should auto-save my video that I'm filming, so I'm hoping that that's the case. So now I don't have to worry because that is already secured. It's not going to move. Okay. Again, I should have done that in the first place. So then I just push that down. So obviously this is a cover, this is the spine, and so we're going to turn it over and go ahead and just kind of give that a good tug, make it nice and tight. And then we're going to put another piece here. I'll have to cut one more since I had to sacrifice that other one. It's okay. Another one there. This is super strong tape. I just get it off of Amazon. I will try to link it. Let me make a quick note to link the gaffer's tape. Link gaffer's tape. There we go. I forgot to talk about the fabric. This is the fabric we're going to use. I'm not a big fan of bees, but this is really, really durable fabric, and it's going to cover well. It's not going to show any of the chipboard through. It's also going to be very durable for this project, so that's why I'm doing it. So there we go. So now I like to turn this so I can get this close to me, so it doesn't matter which way it's flipped up. So we're going to do the same on this side. I was so glad to not have school today because I was up most of the night with a terrible stomach ache because I forget that I can't eat like a normal person anymore after my gallbladder surgery, and so I had some spaghetti, and yeah, my body did not like it at all, but it took about 36 hours before I felt it, and so I was up most of the night with a stomach ache, and like, okay, now I truly am committed. I have to change my diet completely and not have anything with obvious fat. So it's a bummer. I mean, I don't eat a lot of fat anyway, but like I do enjoy some spaghetti once in a while, or a piece of pizza or something, and I'm just not going to be able to do it. It's not worth it. And apparently that's pretty normal from what I've read. So because you don't have your gallbladder to filter anything before it goes into your intestines. So there we go. I know it looks really big. It's very fat, but we need that because I don't want to make, 15 of these. I would like to make one that's bigger, that's going to hold a lot of ephemera before we go on. So I might take a piece of the page paper to put on the inside covers. I forgot to actually print some panels for the inside cover. So what I like to do is I already took this fabric and I just cut it down. Let me show you what it looks like in terms of size. Let me move the camera up just a little bit so you can see the full thing here. There we go. That's better. And I like to leave a lot around the edges initially because you know what, this is going to be a problem because you know what? No, I don't think, even though it's like this canvasy material, it's really not all that thick. But we might have a little bit of bunching at the corners because it is thicker than the normal fabric I use. So I just leave about that much on all edges. I'll cut off this edge over here that you can't really see. It's a little bit long, but we can do that in a moment. So what I like to do is go ahead and just flip this over. Actually, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to get my PVA glue, which is all clogged up, so I have to open the whole lid because I never clean my nozzles very well in my life, in my paint or anything else. So I'm just going to put some PVA glue. Now, if you have a glue that you prefer, you use what you like, that's fine. I'm going to move my mouse so I don't stop the camera because I need some room. So I'm going to move this off. You're not going to be able to see it. So we're going to give this a good coat of PVA glue. And I like to just do like a half at a time. And I like to get pretty generous on those edges. And I go about halfway through the spine. And then we'll do the other half. I'm not going to use the Fabri-Tac here. I use the Fabri-Tac when I turn the fabric to the inside. That's when I will add Fabri-Tac to my process here. Okay, so there we've got plenty of PVA glue. Now you might notice there's some beading here. That's because of the gaffer's tape. It's never presented a problem for me, so I'm not worried about it, and I'm not worried about this excess glue getting on my fabric. Not a big deal. So then I'm going to bring my fabric over. It's a little bit wrinkled, so I'm going to kind of watch that. Actually, I do need to flip this over. I don't do covers every day, you know, so we're going to lay that down because I need to see my boundary for this, right? So I keep my margins around the cover a good amount there. So then I just kind of give this a press, get it to kind of start to stick, and then I turn it over and press it from the other side and focus a lot of my energy there. So I can flip that back over, and I've got a towel here on my lap because I don't like to get my fingers so sticky, and I just kind of rub it with the towel. That might be glue from the mat actually, versus the actual base of the spine or the cover here. So it is still, I know for some of you living in really, really extreme weather right now, we are now up to 34 degrees, and it was 29 degrees when we went to bed last night. So it is warming up, it is raining, and things are beginning to thaw a little bit. So hopefully we don't get another wave of cold weather, because we already have layers of snow, ice, snow, ice, snow, ice everywhere. So not a good scene. Okay, so now we turn it over, and we're going to turn her this way. Okay, so, well, nope, this way. Right there. So now we're going to pull it back to that point where we left off. I'm going to put some PVA glue right on here instead. That will be easier than the plate. I'm just going to come right up. I actually like to pull this back a little bit if I can without compromising the, now I can see I'm compromising the chipboard right there because that's stuck really, really well. So this is a good, really, I can tell it's got a lot of cotton in it, so it's a good fabric. It wasn't this color when I bought it. It was more yellow and gold, and I coffee dyed it for the Grungy Bee Journal. Boy, that was a lot of PVA glue. Okay, I'm kind of sloppy when it comes to doing this. Okay. We may make the template for the spine today, since we're doing pretty good on time here. Fingers crossed the power stays on. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to push that down. And then if you've got any wrinkles, this is the time to take advantage of smoothing those wrinkles out. Now, of course, you could use any material for your spine or your covers you want. You could use cereal boxes. I just really like the durability of chipboard. And I will link that as well. Let me make a note. Chipboard, I get it off of Amazon as well. So I'm just making a pencil note there. Okay. So you do want to really, really rub this well and make sure that it's really adhered. This fabric is awesome. I can tell that it's adhering very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up. And I'm going to get a wipe and just wipe this off really quick. I just don't want to put my arm in it. Okay. So now we are to the other side. So you can see the other thing, I don't know if you can see on camera, it is bowing, but that's because it's cardboard. Chipboard is basically cardboard. It's compressed cardboard. So we're going to get some bowing. It all works out in the end, so don't worry about that. I don't even think I'm going to cut off the excess. I'm just going to keep it going here. So I like to start with the long edges first. You can do whatever you want to do. And so I put a bit of the PVA glue on the base of the chipboard here. So there we go. So then we're going to fold this side up, and the key to this is to pull it and give it a tug and really, really pull it tight into the center of the cover. Okay. Now I don't generally, sometimes I'll cut my corners when I do this. Actually, nope, I did that completely wrong. Not completely wrong, but I was thinking about my corners and I missed a step. So what I do first is actually the corners, which is when I start introducing the fabric tack. So I'm going to put some more PVA glue, or PVA glue there, and some fabric tack right here. Now I have done this without using fabric tack. I don't know why I use it. I just like it. And then I'm going to make a corner here at a 90-degree angle. You want to get that as close to 90 degrees as you can. Okay. We do want to get that adhered so it doesn't cause us a problem. Get down there. Okay. It's very messy. Very messy endeavor. So I'm going to flip this so that you guys can see the other corner. There we go. More PVA and fabric tack. And you guys, I realize that other people do this differently. I am not an expert by any means. I've only been doing this a couple years, so please do what you're comfortable with in terms of binding. I'm just showing you my process. Okay, so that's great. That's holding like a charm. So we're going to flip her again, and we're going to fold this whole edge up. So we're going to need more PVA glue. You will notice if you're using what I'm using that you're going to get some oozing glue from your PVA glue, and that's okay. Oh, that corner is very bad. What is going on there? Okay, well, it's a reference journal, so that corner is going to be strange. It's thick material. It's thicker than what I would normally use, so that's probably why that's happening. Cannot figure out why that is so rough. See if I can fix that. It's a little bit better. No, it's probably hard for you guys to see when I'm talking about this corner here. Because I didn't cut the corners, it's going to be a little bit bulky in that corner. But again, it's just a reference journal, so I don't worry about it. So I'm going to get more PVA glue. So these are the easier parts, because other than your corner, which is severely bulky, really bulky, and that's just the fabric. I wonder if that was the case with the journal too. I can't quite recall. So we do get a weird corner here, but I'm going to embrace it, because it probably would have been better if I cut the corners. Sometimes I cut them, sometimes I don't. It's just kind of a crapshoot. Probably just based on whatever I'm feeling at the time. But structurally, I've never known of a problem with the way that I do this, so I don't worry too much about it. I'm just going to put some PVA glue right there. Why am I making this so difficult? Get some fabric tack in there. In there. And we're going to do that tug. Pull it up as tight as you can, because that also helps to tighten that corner as much as you possibly can tighten it. So that looks pretty good, even though we're going to have quite the gap here. We'll just do our pages so that they are going to cover most of that, which is essentially why I don't really worry about it, because I always put, either I would take another piece of fabric and cover. Oh, we didn't do this edge. What the what? Thought I did this. I did the corners and didn't do the long edge. Is I'll put another piece of this same fabric on the inside and make it go almost all to the edge. We might do that on this one, but I don't do that right away because I want it to have plenty of time to dry. We have quite the gap there, but we are going to just embrace imperfection here. In my opinion, a reference journal is meant to be functional as more than it is pretty. I think you can do both, but you don't want to sacrifice one for the other. So we're gonna focus on the structure of this. I want it to be strong, and I want it to be bound well. And so that's kind of where my focus is. I'm just going to stick some PVA glue under there and under there. There we go. Give that a push. PVA glue is just school glue basically, you guys. Like, it dries on your fingers just like school glue did back in the day. There we go. Give it a push, a tug, so we can get that corner as tight as possible. The corners do not look terrible. They just look more rounded. I'll turn it over so you guys can see it here in a second. And I'm just going to wipe off this excess glue. This is just an old kitchen towel. Just so it's not gloppy. Okay. So then when you turn her over, that's what she looks like. So the corners just look more rounded, right? And sometimes you can kind of fiddle with them at this point because the glue's all still wet, and you can still kind of control that and kind of manipulate that corner a little bit because it's going to glue. The glue's going to kind of scrunch it together. But I am not concerned about that at all. So I'm thinking, do we want to just put another piece of fabric on the inside of this? What do you guys think? Let me get a piece of the paper and see what that would look like. If we put a piece of paper, the reason why I like to do the fabric is I can get a whole strip to go the whole distance. So I'm going to do that. So let me take a moment and cut a piece that's going to fit this size, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my other piece, and I think it would kind of be cool if it had these kind of stringy bits. I don't mind that. So we're going to leave that edge raw. We are. If it gets out of control, I can just clip it. So let's bring the cover back over here. This is generally what I end up doing. I'll often come in with paper as well, but I can cover this whole base, including the spine. So I just want to look directionally, make sure that I have it going the right direction. I do. Let's make sure it's the right size. Oh no. Oh no, I didn't see the branding strip. Let me take that off. Should still be, oh my goodness, should still be big enough. For goodness sakes. Here we go. There's always a way to fix it, right? Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead and glue this on as well. I think that I'm just going to use, Fabri-Tac will not show through, so I think I'm going to stick with Fabri-Tac. So I'm going to go all around here and glue this down. There we go. Oh, it stinks when you use it that much in concentration. Woo! Woo woo! Let's get some PVA glue on here. Just going to get a little bit here in the middle. go ahead and put this piece down, making sure we did not reverse our direction. It looks like our bee's hive is still up, so we're going to do that here. And just place this on, and if we need to fudge it a little bit, we can, like so. Oh, that's going to be so cool. Now, of course, you could make your reference journal any size that you want. This is the size I make most of my journals, so I thought, you know, why not just stick with that same thing, because then I can use the digitals that I wanted and stuff. So, but you guys can choose what you want to do. I would love to see what you decide, though. And I'm thinking about starting a Facebook group. I used to have one called B.Reborn Art and Healing Group. And I had it for a few years, but it was mainly, it started out as more kind of an inspiration group, like for encouragement and prayer and things like that. And then I started expanding my art, and it became a place where people were joining and sharing their creations, and that was beautiful. But it didn't really attract people, I think. And then I had a bunch of people on there that just really didn't engage because they were there for the previous purpose. So I'm thinking about starting one. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested in that. I'm not trying to take away from any other group that I'm a part of or that you're a part of, but solely as a place where you could, if you create something from my videos, or you just want to share something that you've made with me, you can put it there. So let me know what you think about that, and I will not make a decision until I hear. I'm scheduled pretty far ahead, so I don't know when this video is going to actually publish, so I'll make sure that I wait until I get the feedback from this video, or I might put something out in my community notes and see what people think. So, because I think I'm scheduled all the way out to the end of the month right now with videos. So I filmed Mixed Media 101 episode 1, so that was pretty exciting. So there we go. So, and then you just want to kind of manipulate this, play with this a little bit. I don't get too concerned about the folds and you know, any kind of wrinkling or anything like that in any of my journals. So just kind of press that in so you get that fabric into the spine there. And there's our spine. So as again, you can probably see it is a little bit warped and we're a little bit grungy, but I like that. So now what we're going to do, and we can do this while this is wet, so because I can see my lines here. Well, I don't actually probably even need them, to be honest with you. But what's going to happen is we're going to take this. Oh, we needed the other piece of the spine chipboard. Let me see if I've got another piece here. I think I just stuck them in my drawer. And oh, I do. So let me cut this one down really quick so that we have something to work with, and we can actually make the base for the hidden spine. We won't put any holes or anything in it right now, but we can at least do that part. So let me just trim this down really quick, and I'll be right back. There we go. Sweet. So then basically what I do, let's start with covering this. I actually can set that aside for the moment. I don't want to set it on my, I'll just do that, on my my cutter. So here is our cover piece that's going to go over this, because this upper part is going to show. So when we do the hidden spine, we will glue this paper on to the base, and then when we're ready, we'll punch holes, and we'll have 4 signatures. So we'll have 4 holes going across in 3 places. But then this is all ready to go when we're ready to start doing our signatures in the next video. So let me go ahead and just get some Fabri-Tac on here and glue this on. And let me get a paper towel here. I'm just going to give that a good push, smooth that out. So that is our hidden spine piece. So now let me show you, as the last thing for today, I'm going to show you how I do the template for the hidden spine. So I don't usually do 4 signatures, so I have to think about this a little bit. It's going to be easy though, because it's 4 inches wide, which means every row is going to be 1 inch wide. So, but that also means that I'm going to fold it in half. So what I do normally is I fold this in half, okay, meeting those straight edges. Oh, it doesn't have to be perfect, but approximately. And I'm going to grab my ink because that helps us to see those lines as we fold. And this is the way I do my spines all the time. So I'm just going to ink that spine so we can see it. Okay. So then let me think about this. So if we had, so then we have to split this other part in half because we've got 4 signatures. So we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4. So then you fold this edge into the middle. So I'm going to ink that as well, just for the ease of the video so you can see. Some people make a template and they make them all the same, so they just keep them, but I don't, because if I want to change something, I don't want to have to think about that. So I'm just going to fold that into the center. I'm working with 65-pound paper here for my template, so it's a little bit harder to fold smaller areas, but should be good. Okay, all this glue on my fingers driving me crazy. Get my bone folder there. You could definitely do this with a lighter paper and it wouldn't be such a big deal. Okay, so we don't want to ink that one though, because we're actually using that as our next fold. So I should probably score this because that would make this a lot easier, guys. So let me do that so that I can show you a proper and easy way to be effective with this, especially if this is a little bit different because it's not a 3 signature spine or 3-inch spine, which is what I normally work with. So my scoreboard, oh, that keeps coming off. I don't even know what purpose it has. This is a new scoreboard, so got my scoring tool. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to actually ink that edge, and this might get confusing if you're doing this for the first time, but hopefully it'll make sense. And after we do the whole thing, I'll explain exactly what we did. So then I'm going to line up that line, okay, with my scoreboard, and I'm going to go get it on an inch line, Cara-Renee, and go 1/2 of an inch, okay? So I'm going to score at 1/2 of an inch right here, okay? Because that's going to give me my true line there we want for the signature line. This where it's going to be. Oh my goodness, I have lost all my words today. I'm just going to stop talking for the moment. You know what? Now that's going to be off. That's going to be off. That's not going to work. What did I do? Let's turn that over and try again. Because you can't have one signature in the center because it won't be balanced. So you need okay, let me try this again. I am going to go, I'm just gonna try this, okay? I'm gonna go make a pencil line 1/4 of an inch from each side of that center line, okay? Because that's where our first score line actually needs to be lined up. No, it doesn't. It's still, oh my goodness. Let me take a moment and think about this because I completely botched this in my thinking, so I will be right back. Okay, math is not my strong suit, you guys. So what we're going to do here instead is we're going to, let me move the scoreboard a second because I don't need it at the moment. And we're going to take this, instead of making our center line, we're going to go ahead and just look at this mathematically together. And I do apologize, it's not a strength of mine. So, and yeah. So if I said, because you'd think, you know, 4, oh, it is right. So, okay, I was overthinking it because you've got 4 signatures, but you don't want the last signature to be right on that edge. So I'm going to make a mark I'm just going to make a tiny mark there at the halfway point. Nope, that's not the halfway point. 2 is the halfway point. Just looks weird, doesn't it? Just doesn't, looks like there's more on this side than that side. Okay, so that would be my center. And so then I need to take that, I need to take 2. So I'm going to go a 1/2 inch on this end, a 1/2 inch here, okay, a 1/2 inch here. There we go. Okay, so now we don't need to pay attention to that center line. Sorry, that was so difficult for my brain today. My apologies. So we're going to score at this point. So let me explain again in case that was just clear as mud. So our total width is 4 inches. So I basically found my center. I went out a 1/2 inch on either side of the center, which is the 2-inch mark. And then I went out another, and then I went a 1/2 inch from each edge. Okay. That's going to work. It does create quite a gap in between some of the signatures more than other signatures, but that's just the way it works for me, and I'm okay with that. So let me go ahead and score all of these lines here. Hopefully I can line them up. I need to make a line though, because I can't really see that all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and just make some lines here. This is not my moment of glory here in teaching you how to do the spine template. Oh my goodness, terrible. So as you can see, we do have a narrower edge on either side. That's okay. We just have a bigger gap in the center of the spine, which I don't mind. That might actually allow us a place to put something in the middle, like maybe we could do something in the center where we would have pockets and things that we could stick instructions into as well. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm just going to start scoring these lines. So the rest of it's easy. The other direction is easy. So we're going to go ahead and just give these a good crease here. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, it's going to be fine. That's about what I have, I think, in the middle of a signature, in the very middle of my spine. So that's going to work out fine. So let's ink all these edges because we're going to want to see them as we proceed on here. Sorry for the little rabbit trail there. Boy, I usually don't do this instruction on camera. I think I've done it on the channel before, but I usually do my hidden spine off camera, so. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. So there we've got all of our lines highlighted. Then you want to find, and this is just my way, you could obviously measure this however you want, but in order to get the center, where your center string is going to be, I fold this in half. So again, I'm meeting up those edges. Okay, and I'm inking that up. Okay, and then this next one we don't ink up, we just fold. So then we fold this one. I'm going to ink that edge as well, just for the ease of the video, because this is the side we're working with, right? And we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to bump this edge up into that edge. Okay, actually this is not what we want. Okay, and then we're going to do the same here, and we'll ink those other edges too in a second. So get that inked. That inked. Just in case we need to see this other side, we'll just go ahead and ink them. Why not? There we go. So we're back to the front again. I didn't get that inked very well. Okay. So, so we don't want our signature strings to go here, here, and here. We want them to go here, here, and down here. So then we fold this one more time yet again into that lower fold right there. Whoops, that was uneven. There we go. Something's uneven. Okay, ink that up. Do the same here. So again, we're here. We're gonna flip it over so that we can fold this bottom edge up, like so. And there is our hidden spine. So then what we'll do is we'll ignore this line. So actually, let's just go ahead and make a pencil line through it. We're ignoring that line, okay? And we're ignoring this line. Okay, so when we start sewing in our signatures, our holes are going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then when I go to line these up for my signatures themselves, I'll just take this and I'll fold it in half, and I'll just butt this up into the center of the signatures and make a pencil mark for each of those spots, and then punch my holes that way. But we'll do that on camera. So so that is it, my friends. I'm sorry about that rough go at the end, but we're ready for part 2. So I might even film it yet again today. We'll see how the power holds out. But I hope it was helpful, guys. As usual, I'm always open for suggestions and modifications and any concerns that you might have. Just be kind. That's all I ask. Just be kind. So take care, my friends. Blessings. Till next time. Bye-bye.